What's up guys, it's CJK. How is your day? And today I want to bring you a video talking about the journey the Warriors have gone on the last few years in building their super team. Now I'm going to go back to 2009 because this is when I believe the Warriors began building the super team they now have today. Yes, a total of 8 years ago. In 2009 in the NBA draft, they had the number 7 overall pick and ended up picking Steph Curry from Davidson. Now at the time, that was where Steph Curry was projected to go, somewhere between the 6th pick to the 8th pick. Interestingly enough, the pick right before Steph Curry with the Minnesota Timberwolves actually selected Johnny Flynn. And obviously Johnny Flynn was a bit of a bust and did not make it in the NBA for very long. And also in the same draft, Hasheem Thabeet was picked before Curry, and also another bust in the NBA, picked before a 2-time MVP. Now the Warriors actually went 26-56 in the 2009-2010 NBA season. Now the next season, the Warriors drafted Epke Udoh with the 6th pick and also traded for David Lee in a sign-and trade with the New York Knicks. They also got Monte Ellis this year, who was actually their best player, averaging 24.1 points per game. They finished the year going 36-46 and did not make the playoffs. Next season, they drafted Klay Thompson with the 11th overall pick. Now in some of the mock drafts that I was able to look up, this was a bit of a reach. Most of the mock drafts projected Thompson to go more towards the 15 range instead of the 11 range, where actually Jimmer Fredette was predicted to go higher than Klay Thompson, and we all know how that worked out. Now this season was the lockout season, so the Warriors did go 23-43 while adding Brandon Rush in a trade with the Pacers, and also got Andrew Bogut and Steven Jackson in a trade where they gave up Monte Ellis, Epke Udoh, and Kwame Brown. Jackson was then later traded that season for Richard Jefferson and a first-round pick. A little fun fact about this season, they actually waived Jeremy Lin, who actually later signed with the New York Knicks. And then a couple of weeks later, Linsanity occurred. So going into the next year, this is when things actually began to click. They drafted Harrison Barnes with the 7th overall pick, and Draymond Green in the 2nd round with the 35th overall pick. And as we know now, Defensive Player of the Year Draymond Green getting picked in the 2nd round, he holds a grudge on his shoulder for that. They actually went 47-35 and gave Steph Curry an extension for 4-year, $44 million. This is actually a very important piece in their building of their super team, as they were able to keep Steph Curry on a contract that it was not accurate to his skill level and what he brought to the team in the later years. The problem is he had a history of ankle injuries the last few seasons and could not put a full season together, so Curry happily took $44 million over the next 4 years. This was the season Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were given the nickname the Splash Brothers. Curry himself had a breakout season where he set the record for most threes in one NBA season. So going into the next offseason, the Warriors were very heavy on trying to get Dwight Howard. They eventually failed out, and Dwight ended up on the Rockets for a couple seasons, and we know how that ended up down in Houston. After missing out with Dwight, they moved their attention on to Andre Iguodala, and they eventually signed Andre Iguodala in a 3-team trade where basically it was a sign and trade for Andre Iguodala, where the Warriors just had to get rid of a few players to open up cap space to sign Iguodala. This season, they also added Maurice Spates to a 3-year, $10.9 million. And as we know, Maurice Spates played a decent role on the team over those next 3 years. Actually had a 51-31 record, which is very impressive for an NBA team. Anytime a team can get over 50 wins, that can be considered to be a good team. Although they were not quite good enough, as they lost in the first round of the playoffs to the Clippers, and Mark Jackson was actually fired after that season. Now going into this offseason, the Warriors knew they were a piece away, or just a player away, from really becoming a contender in the league and really having something great. So there were some heavy trade rumors to try to get Kevin Love, who was just coming off his best season in the NBA. There was a deal done and ready to go that was going to send Klay Thompson to the Minnesota Timberwolves. In return, the Warriors would be getting Kevin Love. But Jerry West, who is an advisor for the Warriors, told the Warriors not to do it because he had a vision of where the NBA was going and what would be more valuable down the line. Now, just over these last couple pieces about almost trading away Klay Thompson and really trying to go after Dwight Howard instead of Andre Iguodala, just imagine how that would change the team that they currently have today. Now, before the season, they hired Steve Kerr to fill the vacancy of Mark Jackson, and they also gave Klay Thompson a 4-year max extension worth $70 million, which really showed Klay that the organization was committed to him after hearing his name in trade rumors all summer long. They also signed Sean Livingston, Brandon Rush, and McAdoo, and Leonardo Barbosa that season. All were key players on their eventual championship run. This season, the Warriors actually went 67-15, which was the most wins in franchise history up to this point. They had a 16-game win streak during the year, and Klay Thompson set the record for most points in an NBA quarter, scoring 37. This was a very exciting season for the Warriors, as they really just clicked as a team, and this was the first year that we really got to see the dominance that the Warriors have had these last 3 seasons. They eventually made it to the finals, where they faced the Cleveland Cavaliers, which was LeBron's first year back in Cleveland, and they eventually went on to win the series in 6 games, and as we remember, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love did not play in that series due to injuries. Steph Curry won MVP for the season, and Andre Iguodala was the finals MVP for his effort on defending LeBron. The next season, they had the 30th overall pick in the NBA draft and drafted Kevin Looney. They also traded away David Lee for the main reason to clear up some cap space to maybe be able to sign a free agent the next summer. They also signed Anderson Varejao and Ian Clark during the season, who neither really played direct roles on the team that year. Varejao played a little bit minutes here and there, but neither played giant roles. The Warriors had an unbelievable season. It was the greatest regular season of all time. They went 73-19. Steph Curry was the unanimous MVP and blew everybody away with his great 3-point shooting. This is also the season that the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead to the Cleveland Cavaliers in the finals. That was one of the finals for the ages, with Kyrie's incredible shot in Game 7, and also LeBron's block, and just an incredible series of basketball talent. So going into this next season, this was setting up the trilogy with the Cavs. A series the last couple years that has been very tight and competitive, and a couple what ifs, as in people assumed Steph Curry maybe was hurt when they blew the 3-1 lead, and also the Cavs when they played the year before without Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. The Warriors drafted Patrick McCaw in the 2nd round, and the big move that they had been looking forward to for many years, they signed Kevin Durant. Before they could sign Kevin Durant, they had to get rid of Bogut and Harrison Barnes, so they traded away Andrew Bogut to the Mavericks and let Harrison Barnes walk in free agency, who also ended up joining the Mavericks. They also were able to add David West, Zaza Pachulia, and JaVale McGee on cheap 1-year deals as veterans trying to get a ring. The Warriors, for the most part, looked dominant all season. Kevin Durant slipped in seamlessly with his long-range shooting, long athletic body, and just everything Kevin Durant can do for a team. Kevin Durant was actually hurt midway through the season, and this was the first time that people were beginning to doubt the Warriors. But truly, what Kevin Durant's injury did for them was let Steph Curry regain his confidence and his shot that we had seen from years before. Once they got to the playoffs, Kevin Durant had just been coming back, and they were actually able to rest him somewhat against Portland in the playoffs. This is how good this team was. They were able to rest their best player against a playoff team and still were able to sweep them. They went on a dominant run, sweeping the first 3 teams and taking the Cavs to only 5 games. They finished 16-1 in the playoffs, and they won the championship. Kevin Durant was the finals MVP, and he put on a performance for the ages. So this is how the Warriors built their super team. It's a story of luck and also skill. They were fortunate enough to draft 3 all-star players in Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry. Not many franchises are able to do the same in such a short window of time. They were also able to construct their roster to really lead this revolution in the NBA of spreading the floor and shooting as many threes as possible. They were also smart enough to see Kevin Durant becoming a free agent in a few summers and begin to make strategic moves to make sure they had cap space for that, and to also be able to build a team that would lure a player like Kevin Durant. One interesting takeaway from this is if you look how bad the Warriors were only 6 years ago, it really shines some light on some teams right now that really just aren't playoff teams or contenders, to say the least, that maybe in 5 years from now can be a dominant team with some of the best players on the league and possibly one of the best teams of all time. It's just something interesting to think about and look at. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I put a lot of time trying to go back and look how the Warriors were able to construct this roster. If you did enjoy this video, please hit that like button below. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, hit that subscribe button. Leave some comments below on suggestions for next videos or what I can do better in these videos. And as always guys, this is CJK and I hope you're having a great day.